We are in the middle of a feedback apocalypse, which may sound like a bad thing, but the truth is, it has never been more exciting to debate League of Legends topics. And that is all for one simple reason. Drew Levin, also known as Riot Just a Capybara, decided to open himself to the public channels. Now, in case you are not sure who this person is, you may remember him for his classic gag from one of the dev videos, where he was hiding in the background and with every cut he was getting closer and closer. Also, he is the product and strategy lead for League of Legends at Riot Games. This means that he is not a technical developer, meaning that he can't fix bugs for you. He's also not an artist, meaning that he can't make your favorite skin. And he's also not on the balance team, meaning that he can't buff your favorite champion. But he is the perfect connection between all of those, meaning that if someone has an issue, he probably knows the guy who can deal with that. Of course, he also knows why Riot made certain decisions in the past, and he knows where the game is going, hence why he is the lead of strategy of League of Legends. Meaning that Drew is simply someone who is good at taking player feedback. And on one fateful day, he just decided to do exactly that. It all started when Drew started opening wider questions on Twitter, with one of the prime examples coming from this debate. This is a thread with the context of creators purposefully playing Smurf games for content, even if it is educational. I'm not a fan of unranked to challenger climbs personally, but I definitely disagree that it can't be educational if the streamer is making that the intention. Having them explain their thought processes and decision making in lower elos is really helpful. If they are just perma-going for outplays and solo killing worse laners for fun, that's different. To which Drew replied, "I dislike how disrespectful smurfing is of the enemy's time. If I queue in ranked, I expect I'm 50% to win at baseline. If someone in my lobby is secretly chal, whatever that word is."
Oh, they mean challenger.
"I definitely don't have 50% to win. If I knew that beforehand, I would have not queued for the game. Fair or no?" First of all, yup, I do not believe there is a smidget of being false there. Of course, this is a subjective topic, because one can make a Smurf account to play a different role or something like that, which is fine. But if it is just regular smurfing, it is always fun for the one who is smurfing, and it is always unfair for literally anyone else in the game. That's why Dota just banned smurfing entirely. But that's besides the point. On top of Drew kinda being on the same page as the players, as a Rioter, which is already kinda unexpected, he also opened up the debate by asking the question, fair or no? And this was immediately followed by a lot of players engaging with this. Now, normally all the bots and all the people who try to make money on Twitter, I guess, they just make these posts with questions to farm engagement. But Drew actually answered a lot of the questions people asked. This is me scrolling down on that one tweet. And I'll be honest, this was always unheard of. I don't think we've ever had this level of feedback from a Rioter. But this was only the beginning. The apocalypse was yet to come. Because next, people realize they can use Drew for feedback on the issues that they care about. Can we give Neela a 235 jungle clear so I won't see her in bot lane anymore? My queen belongs in top lane. All her voice lines are about killing monsters the size of mountains, and her passive logs her in lane where she just beats the shit out of wives and twinks non-stop. You can imagine people had fun with that tweet alone. Do you have any info when the dev block is dropping? I do, but it's the comms team's place to talk about that kind of stuff, so I'll leave it to them. You can also just have someone asking about Frozen Mallet, and Drew will just meme, but also accept it as a serious discussion. Now, if you're actually someone who would tweet "shit game, f*** you," well, Drew is not afraid of punching back in the most passive-aggressive, polite way. One similar conversation also happened with Watley, who took a quote from a writer who was saying that players shouldn't expect big changes to gameplay outside of season start. Which makes sense, Riot said multiple times they don't want to shake out the meta too much in the middle of the year because of Worlds. And I'll be honest, from my point of view, the current system actually works. There are big changes with something like Atakan, or possibly big changes to Summoner's Rift at the beginning of the year, with the rest of the year being more about cosmetics and the casual gameplay, such as new visual maps, also new ARAM and new game modes. In this conversation, Watley felt like the game was getting stale, but it seems like that might be from the perspective of someone who's just grinding ranked. I have to say, outside of that bubble, Casual League has been some of the best it has been in years, which is what Drew tried to focus on in that conversation. And let me tell you, that was a conversation that went on for a while. But then it might have fallen on deaf ears, so Drew just replied, "Sure, and if you're optimizing for attention, GG, well played. If you want to have a real conversation, always open to that. You know where to find me." Though, to be fair, Watley also didn't take it in a bad way. Seeing this Rioter around a lot lately. Was curious how much exactly. 326 tweets to players in the past 24 hours, I counted. I actually wonder what the number really is. It has to be close. Regardless of if you agree with the content of every message sent, this amount of communication is still deeply respectable. Thank you, Drew. You see what I mean? We got a Rioter who engages in debates, and even if they don't agree, both sides leave happy. What kind of dark magic is this? And it is this attitude that kept pushing Drew forward. People enjoyed watching Drew break arguments and take on feedback. All while he stays completely cool as people throw slurs around. And so, all the positivity suddenly rose. On Twitter out of all places. Is Drew the best thing to happen to League of Legends in the past 5 to 10 years? Possibly. You are the fucking GOAT, Drew! Please fix the game and make it great again. I mostly read this thread because I think you replied to OP with a lot of class. Huge respect. And it all continued exactly like that until the funniest conversation happened. Hello, Riot Frogzone and Riot Freak. Can we please fix Ashe? This is her weakest state in her entire patch history. And crit ADCs in general are weak as fuck. Revert the crit ADC and crit items nerf ASAP. Your last 2 Q volleys where you moved toward Vlad while having Leona on screen walking toward you were extremely illegal. And killing Vlad would have made zero difference because you cannot stand there. Yeah, just watch this back. There are fully 3 seconds where you are declaring attacks instead of walking in the opposite direction of Leona, after she's walking at you with intention. I have item lead with armor pen, dodge the CC ability and still can't kill cause frost shot crit damage scaling is absolute joke. Season 14 Ashe kills there 100%. You flashed away from her when W auto is lethal. And then your W is out of range and you drop the vision with 2 seconds left on trinket. This also seems like mismanaging space. Plus now you don't have flash to re-engage. It's important to stand in range of enemies when auto-attacking them. Wait, and then you just try to phase her up instead of backing away under turret when she's coming back with shield and rotation up? And you are out of resources? Did you really mean to post this video? I'll never post a clip complaining, because if Drew cooked me like this, I might delete my account. I can assure you that is 100% the champion's lack of balance due to it being extremely underpowered. I've been playing this champion for long enough to know all that needs to be done to fix Ashe is right here. Win rate across all tiers seems well within reason to me. Slight elite skew. Maybe you're not accessing all of her power? A Rioter using maybe you are not accessing all of her power to call someone at their one trick that they think is too weak is beautiful. And so Drew just kept going and going. And I'll be honest, I don't think we have ever seen this level of direct feedback from Riot. It is almost incomprehensible. But that, of course, meant that eventually, if you have followed any kinds of League of Legends topics, you'd realize that Drew Levin, Riot just a capybara, would always be brought up by the algorithm. Yep, just around the corner from another leaked topic, breaking all the systems and all the algorithms. He would be just there, and soon people noticed it. They noticed that capybara was everywhere. Drew is so active on Twitter, I feel like he will see anything I post. I'm scared to mention him. Actually, I just said his first name. I'm sure he will see it. It's all over. I'm scared to even look behind me. He could be there at any time. Please save me. Hi. I have to be honest, as I was researching this video, it was so painful to find the conversations I was looking for. Because as you keep scrolling, there are just more and more replies and it is a never-ending ocean. It takes minutes to find anything. That's how many tweets there are. I mean, it's obvious that this person has been on Twitter a lot, with the most of that time not being doom scrolling, but instead he was actually responding to feedback. That is something most people wouldn't do. And so eventually, it was obvious this would have to end. This level of direct feedback would not be healthy for any kind of a mortal. And so on one faithful day we got this tweet. Another lovely day in the books. Definitely going to cut back on Twitter time starting tomorrow. That was on August the 8th. You wanna see what happened the following day? So that was only the replies between the 9th and the 8th, the day he said he would cut down on Twitter. So yeah, Drew is not going anywhere, I guess. I guess he is not immortal. And so if you are a player who is looking for a reply on an issue that you might have, Drew is probably your guy. We don't know how long this will last for, but enjoy this while you can, because sooner or later, everyone breaks. And the League community has been especially good at bullying rioters from their platforms. It happened to League, it happened to TFT, and so I would advise everyone from doing this again. Because in this case, you are gonna get roasted.